Manchester United have been beaten again 4-3 by Bayern Munich. And it wasn't good. It wasn't pretty. There is a lot for us to talk about today. We had, a goal from Højlund, a first goal. So well done, Højlund. We have 2 goals from Casemiro. We're going to talk about Højlund's performance. We're going to talk about Casemiro turning up as he does in the big games. We're going to talk about Onana. Onana's mistake today. Yes, it was a big mistake. We're going to talk about that as well. Rashford and Bruno's performance today. Listen, if these guys are our talisman, if these guys are our go-to guys, our main guys in this team, we're going to need better performances from those guys. In the end, we're going to talk today really about individual errors. As much as, for me, the pressure is on Ten Hag, today, he couldn't do anything about Onana making that mistake. And I'm not going to go in on Onana today because everybody make mistakes, but we're going to have to talk about it. We're not going to shy away from it. The penalty decision, we're going to talk about Harry Kane's penalty, but the penalty decision in general. It wasn't a penalty, yeah? Long story short, it wasn't a penalty, but we're going to get into it as usual. We're not going to shy away. I want to also talk about Lindelof. Lindelof, for me, was the weakest link in our defence. And while it wasn't just his fault while we lost, I think a lot of the issues stemmed from his lack of physicality, positioning, etc. in today's game. Ten Hag, even though I don't think the performance is solely on Ten Hag, he is a manager and the pressure is on him today. And for me, I just feel like it seems like he's running out of ideas. The players lack confidence. It seems to me that the players lack confidence. Tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me if you disagree. And the game for me changed for Man United anyway, in the attacking sense, after the substitutions, after Garnacho and Martial came on the field. So if you're not So let's, as usual, before we get into it, guys, smash the like, turn on the notifications, and if you haven't yet subscribed, do the damn thing, subscribe below. It's a brand new channel. It's just me essentially having therapy, giving you guys my ideas and my thoughts, how the game went down, a little bit of analysis, or maybe you can call it a little debrief after the game. You bring your drink or you have your drink, whatever you're doing. You just come on the channel and yeah, you join the debate, join the discussion, comment below, have your say, yeah, and create a little community where we can have respectful football opinions. But okay, let's go into it. Let's get into it, guys. So, I mean, for me, the lineup was essentially the same lineup as last game, apart from the fact that he started with Pellistri on the right. I think that was the only change, Pellistri on the right, which meant Rashford essentially was playing on the left, which is what, everyone knows that's his best position. He's not good as a lone striker. So that was really the only change from the last game. A lot of people thought that Pellistri should have started, or at least another winger should have started the last game. It's quite interesting that because Antony wasn't fit, or let's say Antony wasn't available, he decided to change the whole formation because of it. Or was he always going to play the diamond? Because I think to myself, if Antony was available, would he have played the diamond? And if that's the case, that is quite... It shows something. It shows something. And it's not a good thing. But yeah, I mean, I'm glad Pellistri, got a start today. And that was only, like I said, the difference. Rashford, the way the game kind of started, Rashford kind of started up front, and I saw Reguilon push up almost as a left winger, and I saw Pellistri drop a bit deep. But then as soon as, a few minutes went on, I both saw Pellistri and Reguilon push up. So Reguilon was almost acting like a left winger. And that's really how we attack. We attack with almost a 3-man in defence sometimes a one man in the midfield, and almost like I don't know, what do you say, a six up front. It's a very interesting sort of formation that Ten Hag is implementing. But it's interesting that the game started with United actually having a decent chance, and it was Palestri's chance. And this is how how do you think about football? Because at the same time, we didn't play well. United didn't play well, and Bayern Munich played better. But football's also a game of fine margins, because if Palestri has scored that chance, the opportunity that he had early on within the first 4 or 5 minutes of the game, then of course, as we know, the game would have, perhaps the trajectory of the game would have changed. Who knows? We'll never know. Hypotheticals. But either way, that's what I'm talking about. That Palestri should have really, really scored. He should have scored that. And the rebound to Eriksen should have scored. And for me, there's no excuse. There's no excuse. I mean, the tackle from Davies was a good tackle. But if a confident, hungry, really, really like competent player wouldn't even have let him get that close, smash, bang, into the bottom corner. And Eriksen's shot, I mean, I don't know, angle was tight. You can argue the angle was tight, but I don't know, small margins, but the fullbacks, like I said, were pushing up. And in the first 15 minutes of the game, Bayern weren't really offered much. And I think that's also the disappointing thing about the game. The first 10-15 minutes, United started decently. Like I said, the first opportunity came to United. United kept bopping the ball, kept passing it. I think the possession was about 50-50 within the first 15 minutes. So United were playing decently. If anything, for me, Bayern were the team that looked the most sloppy at the beginning. They weren't stringing their passes together. Kane was placing passes. They were overhitting balls. They didn't have the position. And United actually looked like the team that was the most threatening on the transition, the most threatening when we had the ball. Funny enough, within the first 15 minutes. And I mean, what does that remind you of? What does it remind you of? Because that was the case against Tottenham. I believe that was the case against Arsenal. United have decent starts, but usually we don't capitalize. And when we don't capitalize, it seems as if the team that we're playing against realize what we're doing, realize what we're about, and they're like, hold on a second, these guys they're not about anything. And then they sort of clock what we're doing, and then they hit us. It seems to me kind of like that's what happens, and it's quite interesting. We don't seem to have any vim when we attack, and that's the problem. But we pressed. This is the first 15 minutes. Not all the time, but we pressed enough. We were aggressive in our tackles. And that's the difference between like later on when we were just sitting back and when we started. We were aggressive. We were on the ball, quick in our challenges, pressing high. Not all the time pressing high. Sometimes we stopped back, we fell back. But when we did press, we were aggressive in our pressing. But as we know, 27 minutes, Sane scored. And we're going to have to talk about the goalkeeper, Onana. Listen, I know there's going to be a lot of people on Onana's back today. And you know what? Nobody should be immune. Nobody should be immune to criticism. But if you're going to criticize Onana, we've got to be like, put things into context. De Gea's made mistakes like that before. He's made a lot of mistakes like that. However, Onana's made, for me, 2 mistakes in about 2-3 games, and he's only just come to the club. So I can't just like, we got to just be careful how we do this, because we don't want to destroy. As fans, we are quick to destroy players' confidence. We're quick to go online and just ruin players. He made 2 mistakes. Let's just relax. Yeah. That's all I'm saying. I think that's all I'm going to say about Onana. Because goalkeepers make mistakes. He shouldn't have made He shouldn't have made a mistake. It's inexcusable. But the thing is, we can see that he knows. He knows it was bad. It was a bad mistake. He was having a go at himself, and he comes across as a sort of person that takes things seriously and gives himself a hard time anyway. You see, he comes across as a sort of person who gives himself a hard time. So I just hope that he learns from this, because when I look at Onana and his goalkeeping abilities and how he goalkeeps, I guess he's very unorthodox. He doesn't dive like the typical goalkeeper, in my opinion. He almost comes across like an outfield player naturally who's been converted to being a goalkeeper. And we're not gonna, for me, I don't expect amazing, incredible saves from Onana. I don't really need that. I just need someone to give me a 7 out of 10. A steady goalkeeper. But what I don't expect is crazy mistakes. That's what I don't expect. So I just hope that Onana doesn't... I hope that this is just him... Because everyone's playing rubbish, including the goalkeeper. And unfortunately, when outfield players make mistakes, it doesn't always lead to a goal. Whereas when goalkeepers make a mistake, a lot of times it will lead to a goal. So fix up Onana. But second goal went in 2-0, very, very quick space of time. Within the first, I think within 5 minutes of the first goal, Bayern Munich scored the second goal. Gnabry and this Musiala guy, like, what is he? I don't understand this guy. Why is he so good? Why is he just gliding across the grass like he's flipping lawnmower? Like, it's crazy, because he just on the left hand side, the run he did and the way he just, and Lindelof needs to do, both Lindelof and Dalot need to do better on that side. But that was the start of the Musiala show. Like the pullback, Gnabry, bottom corner. Onana couldn't really do anything about that. So good finish, but the defending, the space that flipping Gnabry had in the box, once again, it's just like, how? Why? Where is the defending? So as much as you want to think, yes, Ten Hag, and we're going to talk about Ten Hag as well, the individuals have to hold their hands up too. But as I said in the last videos, when everybody is playing badly, almost everyone's playing badly, you do have to start looking at the manager and the coaching, I think. But yeah, I mean, after those 2 goals went in, United hardly pressed at all. The mentality shifted clearly within the players. The confidence was draining out of them. They were arguing with each other. You can see players' heads were dropping. Onana Onana comes across as a very strong-minded person, but his head definitely dropped for a little bit after the goal that he conceded. But yeah, our decision-making in the final third wasn't good enough, as usual, and that's something I say a lot in the channel. What's happening with our decision-making in the final third? We're just not... The thing is, I say that we're not making the right decisions in the final third, but at least today, it seemed to me, and we're going to talk about this later as well, it seemed to me that Rashford passed the ball a bit more today. He passed the ball a bit more today, so that's good, But in general, our decision making in the final third is never really, really good. But yeah, first half is really individual errors. Like I said, no confidence in the players, and heads are dropped. Second half, okay. Second half though, United, of course, we scored very, very, very early. And let's talk about this goal, because Højlund scored his first goal. It's his first goal for the club? Yeah, I think it's his first goal for the club, isn't it? I believe it is. Well, definitely his first goal in the Champions League. But tell me if I'm wrong. I think it's first goal for the club. And The reason why I want to sort of highlight this goal is because Rashford. And I said, I think in a previous video, that Rashford and Højlund won't work because Rashford is a shoot first, pass second player. And what Højlund will need is a pass first, shoot second player, like a Sancho, like a Martial. The reason why Rashford and Martial work is because Martial's a pass first, shoot second player. So he can facilitate Rashford's selfishness. But if Rashford's a very selfish player and he runs down blind alleys, so he's not going to, how's he going to work with Højlund? But I like the way, even though for me, I think Rashford was actually in a better position to actually score. I think the pitch opened up for him when he received the ball. And if he just, was confident enough to shoot with his left, I reckon he could have scored if he was, But he actually passed the ball in field to Højlund, who had 2 or 3 players around him, and he managed to get a shot off, a deflected shot, but still a shot off, and he scored. So well done to the kid. I want to point out the fact that I think something was said, because in the second half, Rashford started cutting it back. He cut it back at least 2 or 3 times into the box. And he didn't do that in the first few matches of the season. So perhaps something was said to Rashford. I don't know. But just as United thought we were going to get back into the game, Harry Kane, little waste man. Now, listen. This penalty foolishness, right? I don't even know if I need to eat. I don't even know. Do we need to talk about this penalty? Because it wasn't a penalty. What do you want man to do? Do you want man to just jump like a flipping seal? Like this, like what do you want man, like you can't jump like that. And he's literally 1 yard away from man. And like everybody knows that if that was in the Premier League, just like the commentator says, that wouldn't have been a penalty. So United, hard done by, surely. As a fan, I'm pissed off because it wasn't a penalty. Clearly it wasn't. But I don't understand these referees in the Champions Leagues. I know Ten Hag's going to come out and, of course, complain about it. I would too. And when stuff like that happens to you, in your mind, you're thinking, okay, cool. You know what? Fuck it. I mean, forget it. Like, do you know what I mean? Because, like, that is a take. Piss take. But it is what it is. Harry Kane stepped up, scored a penalty. The ball was at the back of the net even before Onana even hit the ground after the dive. Literally, he hit the ball with so much venom. Onana was so slow to flip and even dive. But yeah, I mean, I knew Harry Kane was going to score. 3-1, and that was a sucker punch because at 2-1, you think, yeah, United got back into the game. But yeah, that was just flipping so deflating. And it never got any better from there. After that goal went in 3-1, to be honest, Bayern really controlled most of the game. They passed the ball around. Their wingers gave our fullbacks a hard time. Even though I was impressed with Reguilon's enthusiasm and drive to go forward. The fact that, I mean, when he was forward in certain positions, I don't think he executed what he wanted to do well. Like, the shot he had towards the end and some crosses that weren't too good. But I like his enthusiasm and the fact that he did overlap and he did underlap and he did certain things that I want to sometimes push Luke Shaw to do a bit more. He did them a bit more, but he just lacked the necessary quality at the end to execute what he wanted to execute. But yeah, going the other way though, Reguilon, he was tested a lot. He worked today. He worked his socks off. Same with Dalot on the other side. Our fullbacks were worked today, fully worked today. But yeah, we weren't really offering much in the second half. 60 minutes, 65 minutes. United still weren't really doing much. A lot of our play was reliant on the left-hand side Rashford side. Palestri, apart from being lively in the first 10, 15 minutes, he faded very quickly and he didn't really offer much. I don't think he had the necessary physicality to do much against Alphonso Davies, to be honest. But Musiala was just gliding around the pitch, just taking the biscuit. And I was thinking, why don't we have a player? We do have players like this, but the manager doesn't want to play them. He doesn't want to play that kind of football. You can play saucy football. You can play the nice football with nice players if you can coach that football. But he just wants to play with the power and pace and the Brunos and the Rashford and the Garnachos and that sort of heavy metal, this quick transition football. And those players that you're playing with don't have they have some of the technical qualities, but for me, a lot of the players don't have the IQ to play that type of football. But anyway, Ericsson came off from McTominay. Once again, we want to win the game with 3-1 up, and he's making a like for like change, and I'm thinking, come on, Ten Hag, make an attacking change. Do something different. But, Ericsson, his legs, we know there's issues with the fact that he's getting old and he can't keep up with the required intensity of the game anymore. He can't. So I get it to some degree, even though I'm criticizing, I do kind of get it. But you just wish that he just, was a bit brave earlier on. Or maybe brought on the subs earlier on because, Musiala came off as well, thank God. Praise be praised. Because if that guy stayed on, I don't know. That guy was taking the liberties. But yeah, if he'd made the changes early on, who knows? Because it was after the changes for me that we looked all right. It looked as if we could keep the ball. We could keep the ball in the final third as well. Which, okay, Palestri and Højlund came off, and Martial and Garnacho came on, but it was more Martial, I think. Garnacho was definitely a threat down the left, and and this is what for me Garnacho should be doing, coming on as an impact sub and giving that flipping defender something else to think about, something different to what he was, facing for the first 70 minutes. That's Garnacho. He's not ready to start yet. But Martial's ability just to hold the ball up and keep possession, and his twinkle toes, it's so underrated. Keeping the ball is so underrated. Ten Hag doesn't like players like that. Sancho is good at keeping the ball. Martial is that the preseason of his first campaign with Rashford, Martial, and Sancho playing together in the front three, and the football that those three played as a front three, in the preseason. That's the best football I've seen Ten Hag play at the club, and he's never been able to replicate it. Martial spent the whole season injured, and we never saw that football ever again, and we never will. And it's a shame because those are the ballers. I mean, I have my problems with all three of them, especially Rashford, in terms of footballing IQ. I think Rashford has the least footballing IQ, but Rashford is the best physically. He's quicker, stronger, everything, right? But yeah, we've never seen that football replicated again, and it's a shame. But anyway, Casemiro, like I said, Martial dropped a shoulder on the right hand side, kept the ball, a few passes, 3, 4, 5, 6, I think maybe 7, 8 passes later, came back to Martial, who somehow got the ball to Casemiro. Casemiro's on the floor having a siesta, woke up, and then scored. Because he was sleeping throughout the whole first half anyway. Because Casemiro was just ghost. But Casemiro, when it matters in the big occasions, this guy turns up. And one thing that people who have bias, we won't have bias here. We will say it as it is, right? In the big games, he turns up, and he's still part of that, for me, core 3 players that usually turn up in the big games. The Varans, the Lisandro Martinez, and the Casemiros. And I just need the other players that we're supposed to be relying on in that core. I need the Brunos and Rashford to step up, because I've never seen Bruno play well in a big game against the top 6 sides. He always goes missing. Always. I mean, even people who hate Pogba, we've seen Pogba play well, and we've seen Pogba beat Man City by himself with those 2 goals when we beat Man City 3-2. We've seen this guy. Come on, let's not lie. But I've never seen. Do you know what I'm trying to say? It's like, and Rashford is just, apart from the fact if he gets a goal and assist, in terms of his 90-minute performance, it's never good, Rashford. And today was no different. But yeah, we just need the whole core to be of a certain quality, and right now it isn't. It isn't, and that's the problem. But as soon as we scored, they scored. It was that kind of game. As soon as we scored our first goal and they scored the third, we scored the second goal and they went, oh cool. No, you know what? No. We like that 2-goal cushion. Don't do it again. And then they scored and we gained a 2-goal cushion. So we stopped scoring after that. We thought, let's not do that. What's the point? But I lied because we didn't do that. We scored again. And who was it again? Casemiro. And like I said before, Casemiro, DM, came up, 2 goals at the end. And that this time, a cross from Bruno. Bruno got the assist. Header from Casemiro, 4-3. I mean, 4-3 kind of, it's interesting because the result was 4-3, but 4-3 really flattered us. Or, in some ways it did, I think, because yes, we could have scored in the beginning, and if we scored in the beginning, the game would have changed, and all of these hypotheticals, great. Yes, that's also true. But based on the overall game and how it went, and how badly we played, it could have been 5-2. It could have been one of those games. But United are under pressure now. We're losing games every day, every week. Ten Hag is surely now under more pressure than he was before. I'm worried. I'm definitely worried because one thing I said at the end of last season is I want to see what Ten Hag learns from the first season and what he thinks he needs to do to close the gap on Man City. And based on what I've seen so far, the purchase of people like Mason Mount, for instance, I'm like, is this what he thinks he needs? And we can't always use Glazers. I know the Glazers are crap owners, but he spent money. He has spent money. He spent 100 million on Antony euros because he told them Antony had to get this guy. It's Antony. And we spent all that money. And he's made some good decisions, but some of the decisions he's got wrong, he's really got wrong. And it's a shame because I'm looking at this game and I'm thinking Sancho would have... Just even having Sancho as an option in a game like this would have been so helpful. But I don't know. I think... I hope this manager turns it around, and that's all I can say every video because I don't want this manager to lose his job or anything. But he needs to learn from his mistakes and not be so stubborn. I think that's what I say. Not be so stubborn. But what do you guys think? What do you guys think about the manager? What is happening at Man United? Because the confidence, the look of the players, they want to win the game because nobody wants to lose. But it's almost as if the players kind of... It's almost as if we scored those 2 goals when we just did our own thing and we stopped following that 3-1-6 formation that the manager wants. I feel like the manager needs to go back to what was working decently well last season. I think bring Eriksen back closer to Casemiro and stop exposing Casemiro by himself in the midfield. Maybe that. I don't know. He needs to try new things and maybe not be so stubborn and play Sancho, play certain plays. Stop, sticking to your favourites. Stop playing Antony all the time and Bruno and Rashford all the time. Switch it up. If they're not playing well, because the problem is if you keep playing players that are not performing, and players that do perform, you take them out of the team, or for instance, you take a player out of the team if he has one bad performance. And at the same time, that player has seen you pick Rashford game after game and Rashford playing badly game after game after game. And they're thinking, hold on a second. You picked Rashford game after game, even though he's played badly game after game, and you've taken me out of the team after one bad performance. I'm just giving an example. But what I'm trying to say, you've got to be consistent, Ten Hag, in what you're saying, in your rules, and how you're applying them, and how you're treating players. And if you have favourites, it's going to be a problem. I think it is. But it is what it is, man. Casemiro, like I said, scored again from Bruno's header. Game finished 4-3. What do you guys think of the game? Let me know. Comment below. Give me some information. Give me some details. Give me some knowledge. Pause. You know what I mean? Yeah, man. Let me know what you think of the game. Who was your man in the match? I'll give it to Musiala. From a Man United's perspective, I'd give it to... Reguilon for his tenacity and effort. Dallo had a decent game too. But Højlund's... Let's mention Højlund very quickly. I'm not going to be too hard on the guy because he's young and he's settling in. He's had some... He's very tenacious and he's very physical. And he's got eye to go and he's hungry. His touch is a bit clumsy. Today, his touch was a bit clumsy today. He had some decent touches, but some touches were a bit off. So we have to be honest and we have to, we can't shy away from that. But he's bred into the team. So I'm not going to, scrutinize him too much. If everything around you is on fire and you've come and you're made of ice, very soon you're going to melt. So what can I say? I don't know. But yeah, that's it. Let me know what you guys think. Comment below. Yeah, I don't know. Onwards and upwards. Next game, I think it's Burnley. Let's hope this team has to fight. Otherwise, we are in trouble. Anyway, have a good evening. Have a good day. Have a good week. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace out. If you're not